Joining us this morning to further discuss former President Jimmy Carter, presidential historian Robert Dallek. He is in Washington, D.C. this morning. Sir, we thank you for giving us some of your time. You know, I look back to something that Jimmy Carter said in 2015 following a cancer diagnosis. And he said, "I am perfectly at ease with whatever comes. I've had an exciting, adventurous, and gratifying existence." You can't help but think that maybe the same sentiment is being felt this morning. Now, Mr. Dallek, good to see you. What stories stand out to you about Jimmy Carter and his life and legacy?
Well, what really strikes me the most is the fact that he was the first Southerner to regain the presidency after the American Civil War. Of course, Woodrow Wilson was born and raised in Virginia, but he was seen as a Northerner because he served as president of Princeton and had been governor of New Jersey. And so what Carter represented in a way was a full reconciliation of the states after that disastrous Civil War in which over 600,000 Americans perished. And of course, his post-presidency, as you've described, was even more monumental than what he did as president. He had brought to the world the feeling that America was still very much a humanitarian society that cared about people in need, and he very much represented that.
Right. I mean, received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 for his work to advance democracy. Talk a little bit about his recognition globally for some of the elections he was involved in, some of the health care he tried to eradicate from diseases across the world that were so important to him, the difference that he made in that type of work.
Well, it made a difference in the sense that he was on the ground. He didn't sit in Georgia or somewhere in the United States and avoid going to these areas where there were perils. And it was seen as courageous that he would expose himself to areas that were fighting diseases and civil wars, civil strife. In the Middle East, he was particularly concerned to try and find some kind of accommodation between the Israelis and the Arabs, who were very much at each other's throats. So he brings to the world and really raises the stature, in a sense, of the United States. He'll never be seen as a great president, but he will be seen as a great humanitarian, and that he is the longest living president in American history. Herbert Hoover lived for quite a while after he left the presidency in 1933, but Carter has exceeded this now, and it speaks to his courage that he doesn't want to be in the hospital. He wants to be at home with loved ones. And that, I think, touches the heartstrings of everybody in the country.
Yep, certainly does. 98 years old. Lastly, talk about his faith and his family's faith, something that we know is important to him, is pivotal in his life, teaching Sunday school in his hometown for so many years.
Yes, religion was enormously important to him, but what was also striking was that he was not biased. He saw all religions, all faiths, as something people should attach themselves to and take comfort from the difficulties that they confronted in the course of their lives. He didn't have a career which was full of success and no setbacks, but he was a model of how somebody through their faith could continue to stand tall and struggle for the greater good.
Jimmy Carter surrounded by his family in his small hometown in Georgia this morning after going into hospice care. Mr. Dallek, thank you for giving us a glimpse into some of his legacy that we cherish and think about this morning.
My pleasure.
Good to see you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.